Good evening to Defichain Tech Talk with U-Zyn on the 12th of August 2021. You're watching Defichain's monthly tech update, where we give you a more in-depth look under the hood of our project. Get a bit more in the bits and bytes and invite the core development team so that you don't miss the details. Hear about the next milestones and highlights from more technical point of view. If you're watching it tonight and you like the show, let's go crazy on the like button down there. Like there would be no tomorrow. Trust me, it really helps the project. So does it help you? Trust me in that. But before we start in the show tonight, I would like to welcome my co-moderator, DC. Good evening. How are you?
Hi, Mark.
Another day, another live stream.
Another day. Right. It's not a week. It's just a day from yesterday. But I'm excited. You know, I'm expecting something new, and it is the Atomic Swap Live. We will see if it works.
Fantastic. Yeah,
I think
sounds exciting, right?
That's one of the main topics. Yeah? There are also other things U-Zyn wants to show us, or Fushin, but this is the highlight.
Absolutely. Good. So, then I would say let's get cracking. We jump right in. We've got two guests tonight. We brought U-Zyn. Who doesn't know U-Zyn? The godfather of Defichain, the technical godfather of Defichain, I have to say. And he brought one of his superstars, Fushin, with him. Welcome and good evening, U-Zyn and Fushin. How are you tonight?
Hey, we're good.
Thanks for coming.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, we are so happy that you are here. A month have passed. It's like the weeks are really like clocking down like crazy. It's good to have you guys. I think you have a lot of stuff in your backpack tonight. It's like Christmas for us when you're here. I would say we start. How do you want to do it, U-Zyn? You want to give us a quick, or even a longer, I think everybody's happy that you're here, an update, what's going on about milestones, a little bit of outlook, and then we go deeper in the topics. Is that okay for you?
Sure, sounds good. Yeah.
Awesome.
So,
cool.
All right. Let me go through a quick agenda that what we're going to go through. Hopefully we can do it in about like an hour or so. It's going to be a pretty long one, pretty packed one. So I'm gonna do a quick like commentary on what happened with Poly Network and what we're doing here at Defichain. I think it's pretty relevant to Defichain, so I think I'm just gonna quick commentary there, and then we're gonna go through the Fort Canning updates. That's our next major milestone for blockchain, and then I'm gonna go through an Atomic Swap. I'll try to do it live, so I just want to get you guys mentally prepared because it's a slow process, and but it might not work that well, but we'll see. But the key goal I want to drive is that I want to make sure that at the end that everyone understands the whole process and what the fees and how the thing is like, and then once the UI is in, then you will at least understand the base on how it works.
Cool.
And then we'll have the Defichain lead Fushin walking through on the oracles and also Lightwallet updates. We have some exciting news there.
Sounds good. A lot to talk about. Okay, let's do that.
All right. Yeah. So let's start. So firstly, I want to talk briefly on Poly Network on arbitrary code execution. So I think now the world has probably known what happened on Poly Network, that there's probably the largest hack on DeFi ever. So what happened, underlying on what happened, a lot of it relies around certain function on the smart contract that allows some sort of arbitrary code execution. So a user can pass in, not really a user, but more like an admin can pass in some sort of arbitrary code to execute a certain function that is not published on a smart contract. So this is useful for like upgradable smart contract. Like you want to do certain things that originally you not planned for, then you have some sort of a placeholder function that you can pass in arbitrary code so they can execute that way. Of course, it's locked down to only a certain key individual. And what happened is that the hacker kind of found that I can exploit it in a certain way, and I can pass in my code to execute it in my way. So that allows the hacker to drain the fund of Poly network. So that is not quite a new thing in terms of cybersecurity or like IT security. So it's known as arbitrary code execution. So what that means is that you're like in a non-blockchain world, like you have a CPU, or you have your computer, or you have your app even. Like you want to make sure that only the privileged app can execute certain things that within that space. You do not want to allow like other apps to execute things that are from the other app, or other processors execute things from the other processors that are not related. So that's called like remote code execution and also arbitrary code execution. So for certain things, like you can type in a certain code and then it try to parse it in a certain way, and it results in a certain thing that are unexpected. For example, like SMS, it's one great example. I saw it, a user tweeted about it. Like, because I was giving an analogy on that, and I tweeted about it. Sorry, I forgot the name on top of my head, but that's a great analogy from that user. I'm sure like you guys can pull it out. That he gave an analogy that Defichain is like the Nokia of phones, and then like a EVM is like the smartphone of these days. That I think it's a really, really good analogy, because on an old like non-smartphone, like a 2G phone, like you get to do calls and you get to SMS, and that's it. Like it doesn't do anything. The SMS sent to you, it just show it on the screen, doesn't do any parsing, doesn't do any smart thing, doesn't do any handling behind it. But for a smartphone, it does some handling. So when you send SMS to the phone, it stores it this way, it passes it this way. And we have seen cases where SMS alone can result in certain arbitrary code execution on Android in the past, because it deals in a certain way. Like it's totally unexpected. It's not meant to do that, but because it reads the message and it passes in a certain way, then it can do that. Like on a Nokia phone, you can't do that because there's no such layer to even do that. It doesn't read and it doesn't understand, and it just shows on the screen. That's it. Like on Android, it's a full Turing complete layer that can do everything. So with this philosophy, this is what we do Defichain. Defichain, there is no Turing complete layer for you to run all sorts of code. So the functions or transaction type is basically what it does. It doesn't mean that it's bug free. It can be bugged, but it would not allow any arbitrary code execution. So you can like call like a swap, and then it does a certain like thing that drains the it does a certain unexpected thing that you do not expect of. There's no such Turing complete layer. So I hope that explains a little bit more, and I really like that analogy.
Yeah,
Thanks.
nice.
I think that's very good that you mentioned it today, because yesterday in the news show we had exactly this question. What's our comment on that hack? So I think it's really cool that you got a little bit more into detail. So in short, nothing to worry about. That's a good thing about non-Turing complete. It's pretty basic, it's pretty rudimental in some way, and far safer, right? That's the message for the non so technical people out there. Okay, cool. Awesome.
Cool. All right, the next thing is on Fort Canning. So we have had a successful Paya upgrade. It's pretty uneventful, so that's good in terms of blockchain. No one complains anything. Exchanges upgraded and just take over. Like no one even know it happened.
It was really boring, U-Zyn. It was really boring. Everybody expected something to happen. It was a non-event.
Yeah. Yep. But if you follow the difficulty, it is an event there. You can see the difficulty has gone up so much because of some node that we introduced. So everything is expected, and there's no nothing unexpected there. So I want to give a lot of shout out to the blockchain team. I think they've done a really, really good work there from Yonos, because it's such a pack update from Yonos and Yonos Paya. It's a lighter one, but still a lot of fundamental changes as well. but they've tested it so well this time and making sure that everything works really, really well.
Cool.
So for Fort Canning, again, we want to make sure that everything is safe and smooth as well, and we don't want to overpack things. So Fort Canning, the key thing that we're introducing is the decentralized loan, which then allows Defichain to have some sort of a decentralized stocks and commodities and all of that. I think we've gone through how that works on the last tech talk. So it is going well. It on its own is a really large feature to build because we have to build the decentralized loan and how liquidation works, how auction works, and all of that thing. And we need to make sure that all of that is tested really, really well. So it's on schedule. We are aiming to hit the upgrade sometime later this quarter, ideally with enough testing on testnet and also on our DevNet to make sure that everything is smooth. So there's one thing that we're kind of taking off for Fort Canning because like decentralized loan is also already so huge, which is the on-chain governance. So on-chain governance, it's previously been stated that we want to put it together with Fort Canning, but I mean on-chain governance on its own, it's a really, really huge thing. So it's probably better for us to split into the next upgrade so that the team can really focus on decentralized loan, which is all what we're really, really waiting for. And on-chain governance, I think we all have a pretty good process now for the DFIBs and CFPs and Logmark and DZs doing a really great work there in coordinating all of this. So I think we have a pretty good process there. So we can kind of wait a little bit and not squeeze in too many features. So for that one, we're going to push it over to the next upgrade. The G upgrade don't even have a name yet. So this time we can really focus a bit more. And a bit of a news there as well is that we have ticker council for the decentralized loan. I think that's something we've heard the community as well loud and clear that ticker council is not something that we want to do in the long term. It's just only an interim solution for us to roll things out fast. So ideally, we want to delegate all of this governance to the master nodes, because then this is how an on-chain governance should be. Like they should make decisions on what ticker to list and what are the rates to set for interest and all of that. So the next on-chain governance upgrade should ideally happen, let's say like a month or 2 months after we have decentralized loan. And during that time frame, we should have understood enough on the economics of decentralized loan, and then we can build in that feature on-chain governance and allow masternodes to make all that decisions quickly. So of course we can. One of the reasons why we do ticker council is also because we need to make decisions fast if things goes off rail. So we want to have also an emergency vote function on-chain governance. Like if you need to make certain quick decisions on, like, let's say interest changes or whatever, someone can make that proposal, and then we can do a vote that in, let's say, like, I don't know, like a week or something, instead of having to wait a month for the vote to come in. So that's kind of like the update on Fort Canning. It's going really well. We've had a lot of features done already. You can follow it on our public GitHub. Everything is public. We're now moving over to the next thing that the team's working on. It's on the auction, on liquidation, and also making sure that the performance is all really good.
Okay.
I hope that gives a quick high-level updates on Fort Canning. Any questions?
I really appreciate the shift of the on-chain governance later point, because I think changing too much at the same point could lead to problems, and we should focus on the main thing, which are the decentralized loans and assets. Most people are expecting or waiting for this one and not on the on-chain governance. So I like the idea to focus on one thing, make it working, and then the next step. Good idea. Thanks.
Absolutely. Good.
Thanks.
No pressure, U-Zyn. I know you've got a lot on your plate at the moment. I think prioritizing, everybody wants everything at the same time, right? I think clearly prioritizing on the things that are good for business and good for the price development and for the capabilities of the chain. Good move.
And I really appreciate, like, the team is really happy as well on this decision, and and also really happy for the support that the community has been really supportive for whatever all the things that we do, and whatever that we do is definitely for the community. It's not for us. So we're trying to make sure that it is safe and good for everyone in this space.
Good. Should we?
All right.
We do questions later, right? We do questions at the very end if there are questions. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
Okay.
Perfect.
All right. Cool. I'm
So
gonna
you
move
wanna
on to the next one.
You wanna do the what's next?
Atomic
U-Zyn?
swap.
Atomic swap. Okay, that's
Wow.
a special for DC. DC
Wow.
couldn't sleep the whole week already. He was so
Yeah,
excited.
so now here I'm writing. No, there's a
I'll share the
replay.
notes.
Let me see.
Okay.
Let's
Let's move on to
over.
Atomic swap.
Okay,
I
so
hope
that
we can
means
do it live.
you're gonna share your screen, U-Zyn?
Yep.
You have to switch the scene, Mark.
Yeah, I'm on the
Okay, let me
scene
just share it right
already. We just
No.
okay, here we are. You see it?
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, live mode. Here we go.
Cool. All right. So we're gonna try to do an atomic swap live. Like the goal that I want to achieve today is I want to make sure that I get the idea across to everyone, and also for every viewer to understand how atomic swap works on Defichain. And to do it yourself on the command line, it's a lot of work, but I will try to show that to you and explain every step of the way. It might fail, it might, because like blockchain takes time, and we have to also depend on Bitcoin blockchain to mine blocks as well. Let's see. It's a really slow thing, but let's try to work it out. Hopefully we won't. I would like to cut off, let's say, about like 20 minutes in, and then we move over to Fusing so that you can cover more exciting stuff, and then we'll try to, maybe we'll see it at the end, maybe try to get back again to see how it's done. But let's see, because if it drags too long, it just might get pretty boring. Okay, so over here, I've set up a wallet here with some Bitcoin. Okay, one thing that I want to point out is, let me just load up. Let's bring up a browser. Okay. Sorry. Let's go to another one. For a moment. Okay. So you can see that my wallet here has a Bitcoin. This is native Bitcoin. So the team has built a wallet. If you want to try that out, it's actually there, but it's kind of disabled. So if you go to releases, if you want to try it, you can download the alpha version, and it has SPP. SPP is basically simple payment verification. Yes, yeah. That means Bitcoin.
Okay, let's call it Bitcoin.
Yeah, it is Bitcoin. Yeah. It was there, and it kind of taken out for a bit because on Windows previously there was some like issue where the node would stall at the end, whatever. But just for your info, this is on Windows and it is running fine. I've been running it throughout like 2 days now. It's running fine. So you can try it out on 2.6 alpha if you want to try out. Yeah, make sure you back up though, because you don't want to lose your Bitcoin, and definitely don't want to lose your DFI as well. Yeah, so make sure you do enough backup. It is running fine. So this is on Windows. I'm running a Mac. This is a remote desktop, so it's on Windows. So I have some DFI, some BTC, and I have 0.1 DBTC. I'll try to do a swap. Let's say I get more like 0.01 DBTC here, and then I'm gonna like sell my Bitcoin 0.01 Bitcoin over to get more DBTC here. So before we start, let me just explain a bit on how atomic swap works. We've covered the technical previously on some other tech talks, but just gonna a quick refresher and also talk a bit more on the technical details. So the process is basically we have maker and taker. So it's an order book. It's an order book based swap, right? You need two active parties to do a swap. It's not like a DEX where you can put liquidity and you walk away and you can facilitate an automated swap. So for atomic swap, it needs both active parties. So both maker and taker need to be online to facilitate the swap. If not, it will time out and you get your money back. So yeah. So the process. So I hope everyone understands the difference between maker and taker. So maker means you put an order on an order book and then you wait for someone to take it. So taker, you take something from the order book. So on the traditional exchange, that's how it works. So maker, the process will be maker to make an order to say how much you wanna sell and how much what's the price for that. And taker will then browse the order book and take a certain order. So a maker can make a huge order and a taker can take a partial of that order. It doesn't have to take the whole. So someone can make there's $1 million worth of exchange, and you don't have to take the whole thing because otherwise that guy will be waiting forever for someone to take it. So the taker can take a partial offer. And in this case, the taker actually has to make an offer on that order. So what this does is okay, so Ian's question on does the wallet backup Bitcoin SPV as well? Yes, the wallet that does backup Bitcoin SPV as well. Okay, so the taker has to make an offer to an order. So this is the reason why this is done is because if an order is such a good price and you get a ton of offers, the maker can then decide what offer to accept. Or if there's like offer that's over the order amount, then the maker can also decide what offer to accept. And the other key design decisions that is done so is also to ensure that the maker is still there online to facilitate the transfer. So if you make an offer, the maker doesn't accept it, walks away, or whatever. I mean, if you have an app, the app should do that automatically as long as you keep the app running. I'm using that analogy because if you make an order and then you shut down your app or whatever, someone make an offer, it doesn't accept, then it should expire. You get to refund the offer. So the maker will now accept the offer. All of this will be done automatically on the app itself. So when I say the process here, it doesn't really mean that you have to do it your own, but on the blockchain side, it does look like there's someone doing it. So the app could do it in the background for you. So the maker will then accept the offer and then sends the site of the exchange. So maker will then start first, and then taker will then send his side of the exchange, and then maker will then claim whatever the taker sends, and then taker claims whatever the maker initially sends. So that's how it all concludes. Okay. So it always starts with maker sends first, and then taker sends, and then maker claims whatever that the taker sends here, and then taker claims. So it's like you can see it's like a nested loop. I mean, it's a nested not loop, nested function. Yeah. Okay, so the fees for this. So because of some game theory exploit, we initially wanted to have some sort of like a block reward thing where we hope that we have a really rich order book where we can all just leave orders there and just like liquidity mine as well and gain some block reward. But there's some game theory exploit there because if you leave your order there, and basically what you want to do is you want to eliminate all your competition. So what you would do is then eat up all your rest of competition's order to ensure that it's only you that's mining the reward because it costs you nothing because one Bitcoin is one Bitcoin, so it doesn't cost you anything. So you just eat up everyone's order, and then so that completely destroys the whole purpose because then it doesn't facilitate the transfer. It's just a war of everyone eating each other's order. Or if we reward based on the actual transaction made, that also isn't going to work out because you can always trade with yourself to generate a ton of orders, so that also doesn't work out that well. So the game theory part of it dictates that as long as there's transaction being made, it has to the reward has to be less than the fee that both parties are paying. Because if it's more, then you will generate a ton of fake transactions to it, and then you just build up yourself because you don't have to trade with anyone. You can always trade with yourself. It doesn't enrich the ecosystem. So the fees has to be higher than the rewards being generated. So the way that it works is will be that the taker will now okay, so taker will have to pay a fee, and maker will then stand to make something because maker is sandwiching an order book, so it's waiting for something, right? So taker is paying the 0.3% of the amount that's being transacted. So the way that it's calculated right now, because always with Bitcoin, so we will take the Bitcoin base. At the other side, it could be any token. So Bitcoin side is consistent. So it will be 0.3% of the Bitcoin transaction amount. So how do we get and also again, just like everything on DeFi chain, the fees must only be in DeFi and not being something else. So we have to calculate what the fees are in terms of Bitcoin that's been transacted. So we take the amount in Bitcoin and based on the DEX on the price, and then we multiply, and then we get that's the fee that the taker has to pay. And the maker then makes so we want to encourage maker to make a trade that is 1 Bitcoin for 1 BTC. So this also further enhances that the Bitcoin token that we have is worth 1 Bitcoin. Obviously, they are free to make any other price they want, but we want to encourage that they make that price. So if they do that, then they receive 75% of the taker fee. Excuse me. Sorry.
Problem. Okay. Thanks for the explanation regarding the theory why we don't introduce the block rewards. It was really interesting for me because I also had a question why we are moving now to the new liquidity mining of the decentralized loans, and I think now it's a little bit more clear that maybe it could not work.
Yeah. So this way, it doesn't make sense for you to trade against yourself because you are losing 25% even if you do the parity trade. So you always want to wait for someone else to pay you. Yeah. So this eliminates both game theory edge case. And if you make an order that is non-Bitcoin related, like it involves, let's say, like a Tesla token or ETH or whatever, and you get 25% of taker fee. Or if you make a Bitcoin order but it's not priced at parity, it's not like 1-to-1. You let's say you price your DBTC higher or whatever, then you receive 25% of taker fee. So the remaining will then be burned, just like how the rest of DeFi functions on DeFi chain. All right, I hope this is clear. We're gonna go through very quickly the demo. Okay, so we have a MakerBot that's running. It's open source, anyone can run it. So what the MakerBot does is basically quite straightforward. It just so the MakerBot basically just puts up whatever Bitcoin that's on this address and on this address. This is testnet, and then it just creates the maker for 1-to-1 Bitcoin. So whatever Bitcoin token is on this address and whatever Bitcoin that's on this Bitcoin address, it just creates it on an order book, and that's kind of it. And then it facilitates the rest. So if someone makes an offer, it accepts it, and if someone makes a hash contract, whatever, they ensure that it's correct, and they claim and all that stuff. So it's automated. But it doesn't mean that you have to use that though, because the app, when it supports Atomic Swap, you can also make your own trade as well. You don't really have to run MakerBot. MakerBot is there just for us to have some sort of enrichment to the order book. So take note of this parity MakerBot address. We're gonna go to that. So okay, so we're gonna try to run through one case because it takes a long time to go through everything. So I have like 4 use cases here. So when you take an order, if the taker wants to go into DeFi chain, which means you're coming from Bitcoin, you want to go into DeFi chain, what would you do? And if you want to go out of DeFi chain into Bitcoin, you wanna, and what would you do? And also on the maker side as well. So I'm just gonna go through one case and then probably just gonna talk through the rest. So let's try to do it live. Let's see if we can get this to come.
that looks pretty complex, U-Zyn.
It is.
Is there gonna be a GUI at the end of the
Definitely,
day?
100%. Yeah, the GUI thing, it's gonna be so straightforward. So you're just gonna go to like ICX or Atomic Swap or Bitcoin Bridge. I see that community started to come up with an name for that. I think Bitcoin Bridge is a pretty nice one. So yeah, you go there and you just say, you can see an order book and you say, I want to take this one, click and then click yes. And then it just do all of that for you, the app. You don't have to do anything yourself anymore.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
And if you want to, you don't like any of the order book, you want to make an order yourself, you can just click a button to make it. And then you have to wait though if you make, so you just leave your app on and just try to facilitate that.
Okay, and that's gonna be included in the Lightwallet, right? At launch already, or is this gonna be like an upgrade on the Lightwallet then?
It will be an upgrade. Fuxing will talk a bit more on
Okay,
that. Yeah,
great,
he will
great.
also give some like future roadmap and stuff for
Okay, good.
Lightwallet.
I don't want to jump the gun then. Okay, good. Let's do it. Let's do it the old-fashioned way first. Really.
Okay, yeah, let's
hardcore.
try. Let's try. Yeah, it might take a while, but let's try. I don't want to dull everyone over here. Okay, so for the to prepare for this, we want to make sure that let's play the role of taker wants to get into Defichain, and in this case, you're trying to come into Defichain from Bitcoin. So you have to do a few prep, but you have to first download the wallet and then prepare. Get a Bitcoin in because you want to transfer in, and you want to get some UTXO as well for the transaction fee for Defichain, and then some token. So the fee part is paid in token, and the transaction fee part is paid in UTXO. So yeah, so a bit of I'm sure the wallet will then the UI will then make sure that you have all of this in place. So because the wallet can also facilitate you to convert between UTXO and token as well, so you don't have to do all of that yourself. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is you want to list order. So in this case, I'm running the alpha version, so I have the Bitcoin, so I'm just gonna show you. So we will run the ICS list order. ICS list order. So now you get to see all the orders that's on order book right now. So usually you'll get to see 3. So you can see the amount. It's for a really small amount, and you don't have to take all of it. You can just take part of it. And the key thing that you want to notice is that that's internal and external. I'm not quite agree with the name, but at least I'm gonna explain a bit. So internal means maker. It's going out of Defichain in this case. So maker. So if you see internal, means the maker is trying to get out of Defichain, and then if you see external, means maker trying to get into Defichain. So in this case, we're playing the role of taker. We want to get into, so we want to trade with maker that's going out. Right. So we want to trade with internal. So we look for internal. I think in this case we have 2, 1 and 2, and one of the order it's dead. I think it's run by one of the developers, and you just leave it there. So if you trade with one of the orders, you're just gonna make an offer and no one's gonna accept it. So you just it just leaves you hanging there. So Atomic Swap needs both active parties. So take note of the MakerBot address. So 8C. 8C. So 8C, this is MakerBot, this is MakerBot. So MakerBot will facilitate the other side of the trade for you. And this one is not MakerBot. So if you make an offer to this one, you're not gonna get any response. So you can see the price. So it's for 1 Bitcoin to 1 Bitcoin, and Bitcoin to Bitcoin, Bitcoin to Bitcoin, and one's going out, one's going in. So in this case, you want to make an offer to. Let's try to make an offer. So pick an internal one. So we'll pick this one. And I think the owner address because we want to trade with MakerBot. But when it's live and when the wallet supports it, I would recommend also trading with each other. We don't just want to trade with MakerBot. So that's the goal of Atomic. So we just want to trade one party. Right. Yeah. So let's make an offer. So to make an offer, you would do a ICS make offer. So I'm gonna craft this externally. So copy this here. I'm gonna keep track of it here. So ICS make offer, and we'll take note of the order. Okay, this one, and let's put some amount here. Let's try to do a different one. 111. This is Bitcoin that we have. An owner address would be, in this case, we're trying to come in. So the owner address that we want to receive the DBTC. So we're just going to go to our wallet and then try to click an owner address here. And then it's going to paste that, which is already correct because I was trying it right just now. And receive pub key. So for Bitcoin, because of hash number contract, it doesn't really support the regular address that we have over here. Or in this case, it's a segment address. You need to convert it to a pub key. So this is a hash pub key hash. So we need to convert it to pub key. So the way that we convert, you can use the function over here. So it should be a bit complicated, but all these app will do all that for you. So you then copy the Bitcoin address. Yeah, let's use this one. Okay, I'm gonna paste it over to here. Okay, this is the pub key. It's not a private key. Even if someone sees it, it's fine. You can't take anything from it. So you copy that and then paste it over here, which is very correct. Your expiry to this is how long your offer will expire, and this is 240 blocks of DeFi chain. So that's about it's about 2 hours.
2 hours.
Yeah, let's do an hour. I think it should be fine. Okay, so I'm gonna paste this here and wait. Okay. For the app, you need to remove the code, but if you use the command line on Linux, you have to include the code. Oh, I need to unlock my wallet.
What's the password?
Same problems I have.
Okay, yeah, so if you see an error like this, then it's usually a wallet that's unlocked. So I'm gonna try it again. Okay, now it works. There's always this warning. Again, like Atomic Swap, it's really it's a feature that's okay if everything works out fine, but it's still quite experimental. And if you try to do it small amount, and it worked well if like both blockchains don't stall and you get to claim your coin on time and all that. If one chain starts to stall or whatever, then there's a risk where one side gets a claim and the other side doesn't get to claim, and then you will lose some fund there. So please really be careful and do some small amount initially, and once you build up over time and we gain more confidence, then we can probably take out this warning. But for now, we really want to make sure that know what you're doing and only use it for a small amount. Yeah, so the TX ID, this is the offer ID. So the next step will then, so you make an offer, now you get a TX ID. You can go to the Block Explorer to see that this is mine. Once this is mine, you want to check. You now want to check the other side to see if it if the MakerBot or the maker has accepted your offer. So in order for you to check that, you do have to poll it. So list HTLCs offer TX. You're gonna copy this transaction. Okay, you don't need quote. So I'm gonna copy this just in case later on we need it. So, copy everything. Okay, oops, there. Okay, obviously we need to wait for a block to be mined. So let's see. So I'm gonna try to paste this here and see. Okay, we don't get any response yet, so it's not yet accepted. We need to wait for a block to be mined. So like now it's like 581. So let's see. Wait for a bit. So you probably need to wait 2 blocks because you need to wait 1 block for the MakerBot to see it, and then the MakerBot will then submit to accept, and then you will need to wait another block for you to accept it. So it takes time. Atomic Swap takes time. While we wait, I think let's go through the whole process because I think the goal is we want to get everyone to understand. Let's see if this increased, then we try to check again. So we check for status, and once we get the status, you will then get a response. Okay, you can also go to this link as well. So Bella has prepared something on the discussion page. We can kind of see that. It has some more context over here, so there's some response. this is prepared from the point of view of MakerBot, but you can kind of ignore that and go straight into the process. Yeah, it's more of a how do you set up a MakerBot kind of thing. And yeah, so you want to check if the maker accepted the offer. Let's see, still 81. So the block hasn't increased yet. Yeah, so once you see it's accepted, you're gonna see something like this, and then you get to see how much the maker accepted it for, and yeah, if it's open, then it's all good. You want to ensure that it's all like the amount it's what you put in, and or less than what you put in, because the maker can accept the offer that's less than you initially offered. Take note of all these features. So the maker will propose like, okay, if you lock in your Bitcoin now, this is the refund. Okay, this is how much time that you need to lock in your Bitcoin for, and yeah, and then you can it still hasn't. See, sometimes it takes time. We don't have a block for quite a bit now. Yeah, so once you get the offer, then you need to then wait, sorry, I got confused there for a bit. So maker accept offer and send. So in this case, maker has already sent the asset. So you're trying to come in. So the maker, when they accept the offer, the maker would have locked in the DBTC. So you can see it over here that it's already locked in. And now, as a taker, you want to now lock in your Bitcoin into a Bitcoin into a Bitcoin HCLC contract. So now you can use the function called SPV create HCLC to create that smart contract on Bitcoin blockchain. So everything that's on SPV is on a Bitcoin blockchain. It's not on Defichain. So you then create a HCLC, and it takes 4 parameters. The first one is the receipt pub key, which is the if you look at the offer, you're gonna see that. I'm gonna go back to ours again. Oh, don't have it over here. Should I copy the earlier one? We won't need all of this thing later on. I'm just gonna make a copy. Okay, so when you look at the order, you can see that the maker wants to then receive the Bitcoin at this public key. This is the Bitcoin public key, and they will pay up from this DFI address over here. So when you create an HCLC, you want to make sure that the recipient is this one. It's not a Bitcoin address because the Bitcoin address is actually a hash of the public key. And HCLC doesn't support that, so it requires where did it go? Okay. Yep. So you then create HCLC contract. You enter the maker receipt packet. Obviously, the UI again will do all this for you. Right. Yeah, and taker, and this is for a refund. So if you put in a hash number contract and the maker doesn't claim it, you want to get your Bitcoin back, right? So you want to have a refund address as well. So this one, the first one, you're gonna copy your own address, also using a pub key and not the Bitcoin address. You enter it to this, and then the timeout should be the timeout in this case is on the Bitcoin blockchain. There's a minimum that the consensus enforce. I need to check if it's still 24. And the output will be the hash. So when the maker, remember maker always locked in the first coin. So in this case, maker has created the password and then hash that password and pass it over back to you. So now you as a taker, you want to lock in your Bitcoin with the same password. I mean, you don't know the password, but you know the hash of it. So you're going to create a hash number contract on Bitcoin with it. And for this, you don't really have to mine anything. So I'm going to do an example here. So I'm just going to copy this one because we don't really have to mine anything. Then we can really just showcase it quickly. Let's see if it's okay. There's some block increase. Let's see. Oh yeah, it's accepted. So that's a block increase. Yeah. So the offer has been accepted by the maker, and So yeah, accepted for the amount that we put in, 0.00111, and let's try to do the next step. Okay, so the status are good. Now we want to lock in the Bitcoin to SPV. So now we want to create a hash number contract. So let's do that. So I'm going to copy this one. Okay, hash number contract. The first one is the, sorry, I'm gonna get back here again. So the first parameter is the makers receive pub keys. So maker receive pub key is this one. Okay, and then the second one would be our refund address, which would be from sorry, which would be there you go, here. Yeah. It should be from here. So I'm gonna copy it. I believe this is already correct. Just gonna execute again. Yeah, it is correct. Yeah. And then 24, and then the password, the hash. So the hash in this case is this one. Notice that there's no amount yet. So you want to create the contract first. So now I'm going to create a GLC contract. And on Bitcoin blockchain, unlike on Ethereum or EVM blockchain, you don't have to mine when you create a smart contract. Has to be a string. Yep. So the result of that is this. I'm gonna copy. See, it's pretty dry. Hope everyone is still awake. So we now get the address to send a Bitcoin to, and this is how we're doing script. So if you want to redeem, then we need to use this script. So on Bitcoin blockchain, when you create a smart contract, you don't have to mine it. It's basically just an address. So it's you reveal the smart contract code when you redeem it. Yeah, so the address. So now the next thing that we do is now we're gonna fund the SPV. We're gonna fund the hash number contract, not SPV, hash number contract.
I just want to interrupt. Somebody said we don't need a user interface U-Zyn. XNew says we're gonna send all these atomic swap requests to you. You're the specialist. You're allowed to doing that most likely
Sure.
manually.
Sure, I'll take 20% of that. I'm happy to do it. 20%. Okay, let's fund it. Yeah, in this case, actually, we can also use the send function. Let's just fund it over here. Gonna copy this address. So 0.00111. So this is gonna send over there. It's just a regular send. Address 0.00111. I hope that's correct. Am I correct? No. Wait, it's 0.00111, right? You see again, sorry. Yep, that's correct. So yeah, lost.
I don't want to show this comment. That's so mean.
What?
Somebody said 2 o'clock in Australia. You put my newborn son to sleep U-Zyn. Thank you.
Okay. This is right. Like I already won. I think I already won. I think this is not fully integrated correctly. So we unfortunately need to use command line for this. So let's just do that. I think I'm gonna stop it sometime around. I'm just gonna try to send, and then I'll claim it back later. But we'll show it quick on over here. I don't think we can go through everything because then we need to wait for the Bitcoin blockchain to mine again.
Is there amongst these many steps, right? If there's just one step wrong, do you see it immediately, or do you find out at the end, like the big surprise?
No, a lot of things you would see immediately because if you enter some things wrong, then it will not work. Yeah, but but in this case, we're just sending a Bitcoin over to this address. Then in this case, nothing will show up. So it will just work even if you send it across, as long as it's a valid Bitcoin address. So yeah, so it's sent. So if you see this one on the Bitcoin Explorer, you will see that it's a send. I'm just gonna paste in the chat in case someone wants to see it. Yeah.
So
Yeah,
this will
I'm just gonna
now
go through the
need
process.
time. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just gonna go through the process right now, and then we'll try to end it. Yeah, and then we'll go to the next exciting part. That's why the Fusing is doing later, because he has more exciting stuff, and that will keep your kids awake again.
I think you lost me in the last step.
It's already here. It's already here. It's unconfirmed. So yeah, again, like now we need to wait for Bitcoin to mine, right? But it's already there, so you can kind of see that it's sent to an address. You don't see a smart contract unlike Ethereum. It's just a regular address. Only when you redeem that you need to reveal the smart contract. Okay, let's just continue again. So on the Bitcoin side, once you fund, like the DeFi chain doesn't know that it's funded on Bitcoin side. We need to inform that this is funded. So we then need to submit that this is funded. So we use ICX submit. We tell the DeFi chain a hash smart contract that Bitcoin side is funded. You can't really cheat this because you need to pass in all the parameters that's involved, and then the maker side will also ensure that it's properly funded. So the way that Bitcoin works is that if the recipient address is different, or if the timeout is different, or whatever, the resulting address will be different, because this is actually the hash of the script, the hash of the smart contract. So if anything changes, the maker will then build on his side, and then it's a different address, then he doesn't see the fund. So once this is, assuming that this is all good and we've informed, I don't want to do this and work because a lot of copy and paste is really slow, and we now need to check that okay, so let's go back again. So now that we funded our Bitcoin, we need to wait for the maker side to claim our Bitcoin first, because we don't know the password. We need to wait for the maker to reveal the password so that we can claim our DBTC. So we now need to keep querying for this address to see if the maker has already claimed it, therefore revealing the password. So you will do get HTLC seed and then the address over here. So the app will do all that for you. And then once you get the password, you will now claim your DBTC, and that's the end of it. Yeah, easy, right?
Yeah, actually quite simple. U-Zyn, who came up with this concept? Is this something that was out there, or did you develop this? Is this like your creation?
No, I mean, Atomic Swap has been out there for many years. It's not a new concept. What we do, what we can integrate that's pretty new, I think, because the fact that we are a Bitcoin fork, and we can do a lot of things even better than other like Ethereum blockchain can do it, because we the way that we do hash number contract as well is pretty similar on DeFi chain side. And we have an order book that's built in on the DeFi chain side, so we don't have to have a separate app that deals with order book. And then once the order book is it's matched, then you need to inform like the other party. So the combination of order book and the settlement, it's done automatically on DeFi chain on many steps that can be done automatically. But on the Bitcoin side, we still need the client to do it on the side, because we can't automate that on the blockchain consensus. In short, right? So you can see the steps, like 7 steps over here. It's actually a pretty short step compared to other like Atomic Swap, because the things that can be done on the DeFi chain side is already done automatically. Like if the maker accepts your offer, you already locked in the DBTC. So the maker doesn't have to do another step to lock in the token, because it's automatically done. It's only on the Bitcoin side that the DeFi chain can't enforce it on a consensus. Then they will require the client to do that, and then inform the DeFi chain side that it is done, and then the maker to ensure that it's done correctly.
Get it?
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah. So the reverse, I don't think I want to go through everything, but I'm just gonna
No.
yeah.
I think a lot of people are now overloaded.
Yep.
Yeah, at least me. Okay.
So I'm just gonna do a quick last one. So if anything, like for atomic swap, things could go wrong. Like the other party doesn't respond, or if you lock in the hedge fund block to a wrong address for some reason, you can always get your money back. So this is sent out, but it was for 24 Bitcoin blocks. So you wait for 24 Bitcoin block, which is about 6 hours, and then you can claim it back to your address. So you can call it on Defichain node. You can call it SPV refund HCLC. You will get your Bitcoin back. Yeah, basically that's it. And on Maker side, Maker again just wanna reiterate the concept that Maker pays first, and Maker is also the one that generates the password, and Maker gets paid out of this whole thing, either for 25% or 75% of the taker fee if it's for a parity trade.
Okay.
Um,
We've got a question here, U-Zyn, for you. Maybe you can take this one quickly. U-Zyn, can you then compare the atomic swap functionality with the SEX?
with a sex.
With the SEX, centralized exchange.
That's
I mean,
the
it's
first time
pretty
I've heard it
sexy,
pronounced that
but
way. I mean, the title of this talk already explains it, right? You guys already teased it, right? You don't need KYC for atomic swap. So if you do that, if you have a good UI, you can just do it automatically. The only downside is it takes a bit more time to do atomic swap. Yeah, obviously you don't have to copy and paste all this thing on your own. The UI will, you just have to click that I like this price, how much I want to trade, and the app will do all of that for you. I mean, it does take time, but again, even if you deposit and withdraw from CEX or central exchange, it takes time as well. You need to wait for confirmation to happen, and the withdrawal will take time to happen. So all of that takes time overall. So atomic swap takes quite a bit of time, but if you look to the whole process of depositing and withdrawing from CEX, it's also the same thing.
okay, get it.
Right.
Cool. Thanks, U-Zyn. All this information is available on GitHub.
So this
Yep, I will
document?
share. I will share this one. I'll post a link. I'll upload it somewhere, and I'll post a link, and you can.
Okay.
I'll post a link in the description, and then you can update it in the
Awesome.
description.
Fantastic.
Fantastic.
Good.
Hey, U-Zyn, does this typing in a command line takes you back to the golden days of Bitcoin? And that's all there is. There wasn't GUI in 2012. There wasn't GUI back then.
No, I think even in 2009, there was already a GUI. There was already a GUI. It's a Qt GUI. That's pretty basic, but there's already a GUI. I think it started even with the GUI pretty early on.
Yeah, but it's a similar GUI as so you have to key in all of this address yourself. There isn't like an exchange for you to manage. So it's like really
True.
the
Yeah.
golden times. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep, you're right.
Yeah, so transitioning, I guess this is really what I do is like taking the complexity from the crypto and trying to make it into easy for everyone to understand. So the transitioning
Perfect.
is like
We need it.
You see all these like 7 steps. I have to understand them, take it from a user's perspective, and like how do I make it such that anybody can use it?
So that was the setup. This is kind of the justification for your job here. So U-Zyn had to make it really complex, and you come in and save the world, so to say, right?
Exactly.
Okay, happy that you're here,
Understand every
Fushin.
single
Otherwise,
step.
we need you. I see that, absolutely. Cool. So, that's atomic swap. Then we're gonna
Easy.
jump to easy, yeah. Are you satisfied, DC? You were waiting for that.
I need a weekend to do it.
Cool. Good. Now, I think it's good to see even this is not really something what we're gonna do every day, I guess, and we're really gonna wait for the GUI. But it's good to see how complex this is in the background, and maybe people really appreciate what Fushin and everybody else is doing in putting this in a user interface where it's done with a click. Yeah, Fushin, are you ready? You wanna show us a little bit about I think that's the next part, right? You're gonna show us a bit about oracles and the Lightwallet, I guess.
Yeah.
You wanna present like the last time? Okay, then just
Let me
share your
share my-
screen, and then we're gonna put you. Okay, there you are.
Can y'all see?
Then let's jump over. We're gonna shrink U-Zyn. Sorry, U-Zyn, I hope that doesn't hurt. And Fushin, we're also gonna make you a bit smaller. Okay. Good. Fantastic. Let's start pushing. All good.
Yeah. So I think we have two updates here. So wallet, and I think most of you have seen the new website, DeFi Scan. So yeah. So I think at this stage, the transition to the new infrastructure has really started. I think you're seeing more and more pieces of the infrastructure is getting moved to the new infrastructure, faster DEX, basically faster version of everything, slowly transitioning to the new system, like immediate response time. So I think first I'll go through a bit of like the Defichain wallet. So Defichain wallet. So I think last tech talk, which is about 1 month ago, I said like it's almost ready. I think this stage it is at that stage now. So I think summary of Defichain wallet is the whole new infrastructure, which is the ocean infrastructure, the globally distributed Defichain nodes. So we have a few nodes in Asia, we have a few nodes in Europe. It's a purely non-custodian wallet. You hold your own private key, same as the app, but in this case, without having to run the DeFi instance yourself. So no more. So in effect, no block syncing, no snapshot, no files. The balance are live. So whatever the blockchain tells you, that is the balance we see right now. And everybody sees the same thing. Because the infrastructure, the DeFi chain nodes are not going to get managed by you anymore. We will manage it on the peer-to-peer server that is hosted worldwide. So I think one of the questions they asked last tech talk was, will the encryption comes in? I think back when the question was asked, I think a lot of people in the team was thinking, actually maybe we should do this before we release the app, which is why we took a bit more longer just to make sure we get it right. So now before we actually on release itself, we will have the wallet encrypted at rest. It means there will be no wallet exposed when it's sitting on the phone. So you need passcode to sign every single transaction. Yeah. So totally encrypted. So I audit the monument. So the 24-word recovery phrase is your cold storage. And then every time you want to use the wallet, you have to make sure that you enter in the passcode that you set. If you forget the passcode, it doesn't matter because as long as you remember the 24-word, the 24-word will always be the cold copy of your wallet. So no more wallet.data to manage. As long as you remember the 24-word wallet, you will never lose your wallet. So yeah, so what is the timeline like right now? So I really love this screen that you all see. It's basically all of the tests getting automated. Like every single user experience that you see, every single workflow that you key in, we test. So that is pretty much what the product team is doing. Taking all the hard and complex crypto experiences and trying to turn it to user experience and testing out the user experience ourselves and see whether it makes sense. So right around the timeline is very simple. So we are today itself we actually have a feature freeze. I'm personally doing the internal code audit, so I'm making sure that the wallet, the encryption is done right, done to up to perfection. Then we check out the user experience and see what else can improve. And currently, we are also prepping for the App Store and Play Store release. But yeah, all these are in motion. So yeah, I think the wallet is coming sooner than expected. So yeah, I think 9 minutes of test footage. I don't think anybody wants to see this, so I think it's in the next screen.
Okay.
So
Actually,
what's the
it's
line
really
for
interesting, Fusing. It's really interesting. Like if you guys are paying attention, like it's doing like all the entering of password and recovering and then sending of coins and making sure you get the expected result and everything.
Is this a
fully automated?
Is this a fully automated preset routine that you actually enter before? So you say do all these steps, or is there a certain randomness in this testing as well?
So there is two kind of tests. So there is like so my favorite 24 word is abandon. So we will use this word for every single test. Then after we have a randomized version of it. So we will generate a random. So let me pause it. I think we have it here. So the left side is actually the wallet. The right side is actually the testing environment. So you can see clear mnemonic set up an unprotected wallet with my favorite mnemonic word. Yeah, that set up an encrypted wallet. They can set up a random seed using 0000 as a passcode. So we have like different sequences that we try out and we test. Yeah. So different address, like every time you try out, we generate a different wallet and test out a different seed. So yeah, all of that.
And how many times are you running this test? You run it like in an endless loop and see if the code breaks in some way, or you run it once, and if it's completed positive, then you know that the code is bug free? How is the testing protocol?
So we I think 2 months ago, U-Zyn said about this shift left methodology. So what it actually means is that whenever you make a change to the code, you change the word from wallet to wallets. We run all this test again. So every single time we make a single change. That's how
Okay.
much testing we're going to do. Every single workflow. So we test out every single Unix sequences, which makes the work sort of like double, because now before you actually want to make any changes to the application, you need to create that routine to test out every single functionality. Yeah.
Understand. Okay.
Cool.
And so far, the tests look very promising.
Yeah, I think there are some like tweaks, user experience tweaks. We've been doing a bit of like public feedback. I think some of you have joined the channels, so I think some of the user experience, like I said, the encryption, we shouldn't review like let's say the mnemonic wallet. So like this kind of consideration. So which is why the last step for the timeline is really just internal audit. So I will be doing the audit myself, checking out every single code matches the uh, crypto security that basically warrants a wallet release. Everything as long as it's fine, then we can do release. After that, taking some time to improving the user experience, improving the user UI. I think previously we didn't state that what network it was on. That's like okay, maybe it's important to state that we're actually on the main net. So like, it's kind of small things that like we were brought up about, or like we need a better wallet signing experience. So yeah, so that's pretty much where we are now for the wallet.
Okay. So when's the release date? That's the tricky question at the end.
So
That's a question that
if
has to
you-
come. Sorry.
right now it's at the mercy of the App Store and the Play Store. So whenever they gonna give us a green light, we will release it after I do the audit, which is I'm
Wow.
actually doing the audit now. So
Okay.
yeah,
So from your side, you guys, you're more or less ready to go.
we have our main. We started testing on mainnet already, so we even have our balances and liquidity mining on mainnet on our phones already. And some of the
Cool.
beta testers also have it. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. So mobile app. So it will not be later than this month at the mercy of App Store. So if you all submit apps to Apple before, you all know how strict they are. We have like multiple lawsuits going on with like game developers about how like, oh, you can't do this, you can't do that. Yeah, then we need. Yeah, it's like too many. It's just Apple, so we have to make sure that we get to develop it how they want it. Yeah. After that, the main focus is that you bring the desktop app back. So the same line implementation on desktop, and then concurrently, everything else is all concurrently being developed. So we have like 3 people working on atomic swap. We have 1 person working on decentralized loan. Before the decentralized loan even hit the mainnet, and the ledger also we have someone working on it concurrently as well. But yeah, so we'll see which one of our open source engineers finish first, then we will just release it when it's ready. Yeah, but as you've seen, atomic swap is not easy. Atomic swap is 7 steps
Yeah.
just to yeah. So we need to make sure we do it. Make sure we get it right technically speaking, and make sure we get it right in the user experience. So because I think the concept that we want to try to get here is you are doing atomic swap. It's not as simple as doing a DEX swap, because the atomic swap requires your client to be on for you to do the
Yeah.
counter trade. A taker and a maker have to both communicate at the same time. So yeah, getting the user experience right. So that is wallet. So yeah, really excited about wallet.
Okay.
So I think
then-
the next part, pricing Oracle. So the prequel to decentralized, taking out decentralized loan. So pricing oracles. So DeFi scan and the DeFi wallet that we talk about uses a new ocean infrastructure. So it's basically the blazing fast ocean infrastructure that we're talking about. So everything like refresh as fast as your computer can handle it. Basically how fast your internet is, basically how fast you refresh now. So I think DeFi scan itself, yeah, so I have the website here so you can see like DeFi scan. So I think sort of like a step before talking about like what is actually like price feed. So the first thing that we decided to do on Defichain was actually the pricing oracles, because we don't have that on the existing website. Like we have that, we have tokens, we have Blocks Explorer, but we don't have prices yet. So that was why prices come first on Defichain before the Block Explorer. Even though we have the tokens, we have the Block Explorer with the Transaction Explorer being worked on concurrently on the new infrastructure. So the pricing feed or oracles feed itself is pretty much how we're going to power the decentralized load. So like the step before decentralized load. So price feed comes from like reputable sources. So like oracles itself aggregates data from like different pricing feeds provided from a single price feed. So on the website itself, you can actually see that we have the pricing feed. So we have we have 4 plus 1. So we have 4 pricing providers. Some of them are pretty well known. I think some of them know what they are. And then we have our own DEX itself providing a price feed. So they themselves form this aggregated price feed. So the aggregated price feed then, which is the ticker council, so which is what U-Zyn is talking about, basically token and currency pair. So in this case, the Tesla stock is matching with the USD, which the stock forms a ticker pair. So then the trusted answer itself are aggregated from 3 or 4 responding sources. So this is basically what Oracles is about. Oracles takes the data from multiple sources in a decentralized way. So we publish it into the data itself. Then after that, it forms the price ticker at that point in time, at that block in time.
Defichain, short question. If there are 3 or 4 sources and one of the sources would show a different price, is it then that we show an average price, or are we single out the one incorrect or the one differing price? How does that work?
Yeah, great question. So if you look at, like, let's say Tesla, so you can actually see. I think this is one of the perfect scenarios because you can see there's a price line differences.
Mm-hmm.
So in this example, so I think it was quite recent. So 3 out of 4 responded. So this didn't form the aggregated price. So the 3 that formed the aggregated prices, in this case, we have them weighted at the same amount. So everybody contribute. Then everybody taking, so basically 1, 2, 3 plus together divided by 3 forms the aggregated price. So once the ticker council itself or the committee itself can decide like what is the weightage we should give to different oracles, for example, or like what is important. So that is, for now, is how implemented we are. We are weighting it evenly.
Okay.
I'm not sure if I can show you, but you can type Ocean Defichain.com version 1 mainnet prices. You can actually see it yourself if you know what to do.
Okay, yeah, I see it.
Okay.
I can see the weightage. Then if you go inside and you type in Tesla, so this is what U-Zyn showed just now, but even more boring, so you can't understand what's going on. Then you can see this is one price indicator, and then you can see, okay, oracles. These are the oracles that responded. And you can see the weightage. Everybody had the same weightage of 10. So 10 gives you the same weightage overall. Yeah, so this is like Ocean infrastructure. You see the response time is automatic. Refresh, no delay. Yeah. So the last price update, market is slow. So we stopped updating the oracles once it stopped updating for more than an hour. So as long as update in an hour, it will mark it as active. So yeah, I think initially now we want to show you some sort of like understanding about like how it actually works. So we implemented some sort of very basic, very rudimentary price graph to represent historical activity on chain. So the data is taken directly from the blockchain. So everything that you see on the price feed itself is blockchain data, but in a historical sense. So what it exactly means that is that, look at this, you see the price in a historical point in time. So how many oracles responded at the time, and what was the price at the time? What block was it at the time? So you can see. So like you see the market. So the market was closed in between, and when the market just opened up, I think this was this is my time. So in US, probably this is early in the morning, so it just opened up, and you see the 2 out of 4 oracles responded, and then when slowly the market properly opened up, you can see I think 3 out of 4 responded. Yeah. So every block in time, whenever there was a price change itself, this will then update. So as we get more data, because this was just released, I think, quite recently, we will add in like more advanced charts that point to, let's say, a 5 average bucket time, or even like 1 month time, or even like 3 month time, something like that. So yeah, so this is more or less for you to understand how it works, like rudimentarily. So for markets like gold, commodity, they never sleep. So you can see the price is open throughout the day. Or even like Forex itself, Forex never sleeps. So yeah. So this is quite eventful. I think if you look at the currency markets, it's actually less eventful. There's actually not much going on. So let's go with SGD or euros. Yeah, it's pretty much a straight line in. Yeah.
And all this data is stored in a blockchain.
Yeah. So the transaction ID itself is actually here. If you can take a look at like what creates this Oracle data. So once we roll out the Block Explorer on DeFi Scan, which will be pretty soon, and the Transaction Explorer, you can actually see the actual transaction creating that Oracle price feed and that block that was included in. So like the full picture of DeFi Scan. Yeah, so it's actually implemented, just that it's not UI ready. So you can actually see it. I can show you one.
Yeah. Okay. API is running, but hard to read.
Yeah, same for ICX. So that is basically we make the code first, which is the hard part. Then we make the user experience. So that's actually essentially what we're trying to do now. So yeah, I think oracles. I think what you asked, so like pricing, oracles collect price feed directly from other markets or even from other chain. So we collect it from our chain itself, then you put it on chain, put it back on our chain. So multiple pricing oracles create a single price feed. That is how we power our oracles.
Okay, understand it, get it. And U-Zyn, you mentioned yesterday that at the moment these are only US price feeds, right? But I think you guys are looking into getting price feeds from other regions as well. Is that correct?
Yes, correct. Yeah. So the price sources right now, we need to talk to them. We need to talk to various providers, and we need to negotiate with them as well. Because some of them, like their business is selling all these price feeds, so some of them are like, we're not okay with you taking our price and publishing on a blockchain for everyone to use. So it takes some.
It's a bit disruptive, a bit too disruptive maybe for those guys. Yeah.
Yeah, correct. And a lot of them, they like the more so far the US markets are quite okay. Like the Asian and the European one, it's really tough. Like maybe more protective of the prices, and some of them will require a long delay as well before you can even publish it on a blockchain. So that might not work so well because you can then game the system on a blockchain to exploit that. Yeah, and also like I also want to add that all these price oracles are maybe something to cover that like it's completely serverless like all the way. So once these price feeds are pushed on the price provider side, it just goes straight onto the blockchain without any servers in between. They are managed by any engineers. So we just have to make sure that we're using AWS to push all of that on using Lambda, so there's no servers to be maintained. Yeah, Fu-Sing, you want to expand a bit more on that?
Yeah, so I didn't actually create anything for that because it's quite boring. But I think the part is true. So the new infrastructure, which Ocean infrastructure, so the same exact methodology that we have for the Lightwallet. Lightwallet itself doesn't need a server. Lightwallet connects to the Ocean infrastructure. So the whole Ocean infrastructure concept is basically nobody needs anything. They just need to, when you want to do something, you just call that and then you can do it. So which is why it can power the new oracles. The way is, so there's no downtime. The downtime is our code. So if you write back code, then it will cause a downtime. But in this case, there's no downtime because there's so many servers in the Ocean infrastructure responding. So in this case, the Ocean infrastructure that you see on my end is actually part of the cluster that's in my region. So if you have it on your region, you have another cluster in your region. So if your region goes down, it doesn't affect me. That is like decentralization of that's Ocean infrastructure decentralization. Same for the oracles. If the infrastructure goes down, it doesn't affect the price feed because as long as AWS don't goes down. So if AWS goes down, there's another question. There's the whole concept. Facebook goes down. So, so that's how we ensure the price feed goes down.
Okay. Pushin, we've got two questions here. Maybe I can just pop one up here. So the first one is concerning, do you see the question? Will the masternodes will the masternodes actually put the prices up, or are there dedicated servers? I think that's what you just explained already. And the second question was, is there a plan for a security audit for the Lightwallet, security audit by an external company? We got asked that question yesterday already in the news show.
Yeah.
How are you doing this? Is there external security audits? Are these guys reliable? Are they worth the money? What's the story about that, U-Zyn? Maybe you can say something about how does it work?
I can
in
share
that
a bit more
space?
on that. So like you can see that audit happens a lot on DeFi, and yet you get to hear all the news on DeFi hacks. And I think Poly Network was also audited. And like for us, we have always been getting audit because community demands it, and we're getting audits. But it's getting less and less useful. Actually, never have been super useful. Besides just having a cert and just to give community some sort of like a sense of like a comfort that it's audited. But overall, usefulness of that is not really helpful. Like we have a really good auditor in our community, which is Dr. Daniel Kagara. I think he's doing a really great job. Like much better than any of the auditor you could pay for. Like yeah, we had one done pretty recently on Atomic Swap, which was the reason why we had that label as well. We wanted to wait for auditor to come back, and then it came back with nothing, and we're not really like happy with.
But
nothing. It's all
I'm
good,
sure
right?
they came with a nice invoice at least, right?
Definitely, yeah. We paid good amount for that. Yeah, so it came out with nothing. Like I was like, okay, nothing is good, but when we question a lot more on, okay, so how do you audit? How do you even try out? Do you understand how the whole thing works? It's like, no, they didn't do any of that. So what's audit? Like, so that was like where we decided that our bug bounty program is working way better than any of these audit firms are doing. So I think from now we want to really like, hopefully our bug bounty can really entice people like Dr. Dana Kagara to do more like more contextual audit. People who really use Defichain understand how it works and then do contextual audit, rather than firm that has no context on Defichain, just do an overall code safety. Maybe just run through some tools and make sure that there's no bug in there. Yeah.
How is this actually using? So if a company as an auditor, right, they audit the codes, they audit the, let's say, Atomic Swap functionality, whatever, and they say it's okay, or they find nothing, and something goes wrong, is there certain liability, or is it kind of worthless anywhere?
Nope. None of them want to take on the liability. There's no audit firm that takes on any liability.
Okay. So it's more like a second opinion, but has no legal implications whatsoever at the end of the day.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep. And the prices for audit has gone up so much because of the DeFi boom, and a lot of them are doing the smart contracts audit for Ethereum because it's way easier to do that way, and there are tools available for you to run through all these scans. And for like Defichain, where we are doing native DeFi, the tools don't work, and for them, it's hard for even to find any audit firm that want to do it for us. And then when they do, it's also not really good work. Yeah. So we just hope the community can look into our code and do more audit there. Obviously, for us as developers, we want to make sure that everything. So like Fusing it's coming with all these automated tests and a lot of processes in place to make sure that there's very little bugs that could happen, especially on the security side.
Okay, cool. Thanks for answering the question. There was another one from N10. He said, how are we different from Chainlink? I think that comes back to the Oracle functionality. Can you say something about that?
I think the whole fundamental of it. Okay, so the way that Oracle works is, I would say, pretty standard. Like it was designed. It was the specs was written really without referring to Chainlink, and after that we kind of discovered, oh, that's actually how Chainlink works as well. It's pretty similar. But it's even if you think about it, that's how Oracle works. So there's nothing really new there. And we actually did talk to Chainlink as well to bring in their Oracle as well to DeFi chain. And for that, it's going to be the same way. So they're going to have to run some servers and plug these prices in, and then they will take a lot more time, and we have to also incentivize on that as well. And for now, they're focused on Ethereum, and ideally we do want to get Chainlink on, but I mean for now, if we rely on them, it's going to take us a lot more time for us to get there. So we do want to move faster first, and that's why we will build it this way first.
Okay.
And also kind of decentralized as well.
Okay.
Good. Let me see. DC, did we miss a question from the community? You are normally
Maybe
always- which one?
Ingo Schmoll, stock prices per block. I think it's
Ingo
not really per block.
Yeah, it's not really per block. So we update every 5 minutes per Oracle. I think something like that. Yeah, we don't need super real time because it's gonna flood it and doesn't really serve much purpose. And I think for like MakerDAO, I think they update their ETH price every half an hour or something. So even for that big of a scale and for that volatile crypto, I think even half an hour it's kind of okay. So we're doing like every 5 minutes.
Okay.
Good. I think then we got all the questions, huh, DC?
You're right.
we
I think
missed
that's
nothing.
were
Wow,
all questions.
1.5 hours already. Cool.
Wow.
Wow, guys.
Maybe I'll take that question quickly. The super
which
helix
one?
on the audit one. So if you want to audit anything, you need to have a framework to audit against. Otherwise, it's worthless. Yeah, we do have a framework to audit against. So our audit, the instruction for them is that we want to make sure that Atomic Swap is as safe as possible for the end user, and really want to understand how it works, and also pick up any game theory edge cases. But I mean, for that, it didn't work that well. Like they generally just do some code scan and making sure that there's no like really thing that stick out like Sotam. Like, so we got a blank report. It's not even that good for us to say that it's all safe. We don't even feel good to put it out that it's all safe because of like all past report. So yeah.
Good. So call out to the community. Come help, test, support. That's maybe the easiest way out there. The best audit. People who have skin in the game, I think. That helps most likely much more, right? If it's your own coins and token, then you're gonna have maybe a closer look than an external auditor anyway.
Right, and there's also a testing group for the Lightwallet where you can play a little bit on the developer net. If someone is interested in, just ask in the channels, and then you can play around. And I think that's the way where you get more insight if everything works, because these are the real users playing with the real product. Not anyone else is having a look on something
that is kind of alien, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and it's not understood. Yeah.
Good, absolutely, good point, DC. Absolutely. Yeah, U-Zyn, Fushin, is there something else what you want to get rid of, or have you covered everything for today? It was a lot. You good?
No.
Okay.
Looks like that. I finished. It's past midnight in Singapore, I think.
In Singapore, it's half past. It's 12:30, half past midnight. Hey, U-Zyn, Fushin, thank you so much for coming in today. Really
Thank you
helpful.
for having us.
Yeah, hey, awesome. Hey, really looking forward to next time. I know, guys, it was very technical, but that's the idea. The Tech Talk is supposed to be technical. Right. That's why I call it Tech Talk. If we do a little bit more the casual way, then join in the news show. We're going to talk about one or the other things that we maybe saw today, next Wednesday on the news show again. Yeah, guys, thanks for joining tonight. Don't forget to click the like button if you haven't done it yet. And then looking forward to see you on the second Thursday next month in September when it's Defichain Tech Talk again. U-Zyn, Fushin, DC, and everybody out there, have a great evening. Thanks for joining. Have a good night. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.